What had Barabbas done? Now, this is one of those instances where knowing a little bit more helps out. Okay? According to infidels.org, according to our atheist skeptic critic here, that Mark and Luke say that Barabbas was guilty of insurrection and murder. But John says that Barabbas was a robber. So which was it? Was he a robber? Or was he an insurrectionist and a murderer? Probably all of the above would be a really good thing. Now, here's the deal. This is where knowing a little bit more, dig in, kind of find some stuff out, can help. The word that is translated as robber, okay, it is not the same word that you would think of as, that we think of robber, like a thief, someone who steals things. Right? The word for thief is kleptos. Like kleptomaniac, right? That's where we get that from. This is someone who is sneaky, stealthy, right? Pickpocket, come in while you're not home, right? Embezzlement, that's thief. The word that is used for Barabbas to describe him as a robber is the Greek word lestis. And I haven't taken Greek, so I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. But that implies a violent criminal. Violent offender. This is someone who pillages and plunders and uses violence to get what they want into. It is a violent criminal. Okay? So, different translations. By the way, that word robber, because you see robber, you think thief. The different ways that several places translate it. One says it translated as brigand. It's translated as troublemaker, outlaw, rebel, terrorist. There's actually a couple that translated as terrorist. Some say bandit. Some translated as saying that he took part in an uprising. He's called a freedom fighter in some translations, and in one of the most numerous, it is translated not as robber, but as revolutionary. All of which fits in with what the other Gospels describe. He's an insurrectionist and a murderer. This word robber actually describes a category of criminal that insurrectionist and murderer fits in very well. So, there you go. Sometimes all it takes is just a little bit of understanding. Because sometimes, and this is one thing you'll notice if you deal with critics too much, sometimes they'll even handpick a translation that fits the point they're wanting to make. I've seen people where they say, oh, well, this over here, and they'll take like the ESV. They'll say, this contradicts this verse over here, and they'll take the, King James. It's like, well, now wait a minute. Okay, because those translators are using completely different ideas, maybe even different manuscripts, to go from. You cannot, they handpick a translation that fits the point they're wanting to make. It's like, no, you need to understand what's trying to be communicated there. And so sometimes it does take a little bit extra effort and digging in, but again, we see there is no problem.